Okay, good morning. It's been about 2 weeks, excuse me, since the last video, and that was pretty much an empty garden getting ready to be filled. And I would like to say that I'm not finished, that I have messes, and part of this is going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the truth of this is what it is. So, we come over here to Evelyn's garden, and you can see it's just full of weeds. Haven't done a thing with it. That's the bad and the ugly. Sorry about that, guys. My table is still lovely. We're going to walk over and take a peek at the fig tree. It is beautiful. And if you remember last year, it was a bare root, maybe 6 inches tall. And here it is in all its glory, doing great. And if you recall, I had this bed on the side that I told you I was going to put wildflowers in. That did not happen. We instead added a row of tomatoes in various cloth containers, and they will not do super great over here. I added some bright colored pots with herbs in front of them to give it a nice look. Let's see if we can span back a bit and just see that we have the apple tree and the tomatoes and another apple tree. So it looks pleasant. I hope the Homeowners Association doesn't decide that it can't be there. And then we come over here to these blackberries, and I wish I had gotten more pictures of them when they were loaded with blossoms, because they were stunningly beautiful. But they're still very beautiful, and they are absolutely loaded with berries. There are, by actual count, over 100 berries on this plant, and it's just going to be wonderful, and I'm hoping the birds don't get it. Now the one on the other side, as I said, is a little behind, and it still has some of the blossoms on it. It's still, blooming and getting ready, but it too is just loaded with berries. So I'm hoping that the birds don't get them. If they head for them, we do have some options of what we might do. So we're going to click into the big garden. And as I told you, here is my cornfield. I have corn on the left that is about 3 weeks ahead of the corn on the right. And I have my bean strings up, and you can see that we have beans and potatoes, but we have beans at the bottoms of all of those strings. So the beans will grow up the strings, the corns will grow up, and the potatoes will fill in at the bottom. That's the goal. We shall see. Come over here to my wild area, and it's still wild. It's just wild ferns, wild strawberries, and then the old fire pit with the purple heart and the lantanas that did come back. I'm trying to get you out of the sun over here to the, I don't know if you can read the sign. It's called the Sprout House. Autumn named it. And we do still have a few little herbs and tomatoes that haven't been planted yet. I know where they're going. Over here we have some basils that just didn't do well. I put them down to their last set of leaves and let them try again. Some of them are doing well. This is my last chance to try to grow another pepper. Not looking so good. These pots I made for my friend, and they'll be delivered to her next week for her birthday. Then we come out here. I don't know if you can actually see, heading into the back. My tree gets in our way. Over here by my bedroom door, we have the traditional guard tomato. And as I said, this tomato overwintered. I have no idea what it is, but you see it's got little flowers on it. And down below, it has its basil, its parsley coming up, and the nasturtiums that are just going to drape down and be quite lovely. And we still have this plant that I still have no idea what it is. It grows crazy. And this is a geranium that I took a piece off of a different geranium to try to grow, and it's still doing what it should. Over here we have the herb pot. We have thyme, oregano, basil, and sage in that pot. And the other pot like it has the strawberries that I planted by seed. And we do have one small strawberry, 2 strawberries there. And down here we have a little flower, and this one's gaining its strength, I guess. In the wheelbarrow, how cute is that? We have the strawberries, and you can sort of see there's a strawberry, and there's some strawberries, and up there some strawberries, and over here's the strawberries. So yeah, we'll be picking those in a day or two and enjoying them. And then we're going to come over and get just an overall of the patio garden in grow bags and colored pots. And we have mint and a pepper and a cucumber. That the cucumbers don't really seem to like it over here. We're going to be keeping an eye on that one. We have, these are the Roma tomatoes, hoping that they are going to continue to do well. And a second Roma tomato that they have flowers, so we're going to hope they do well. Now this cucumber has some flowers down there. It's perking up, and it has some nasturtiums in it. This one did not get nasturtiums. They were planted. And some mint. And then down below we have the herbs. Dill, thyme, oregano, basil, sage, and more dill. So fruits and vegetables and herbs all in one. So you can come out and just come straight out the door and come out here and pick your herbs, your cucumbers, your tomatoes, make salad, make a soup, whatever. It's just handy. It's good to have your garden outside your door. Now this is Ronnie's pot, and for those of you who know, that Ronnie was Sarah's significant other who passed away, and he planted tomatoes in this pot every year. So we do the same in his honor, and he's got a nice big thing here. And this is a little pink one that it was stunted at birth, so it'll catch up. And then we have a row of basil and a row of nasturtiums, because they also work with tomatoes. Over here, the potatoes, just an explosion of potatoes, really. And the mint that came back. And as you see, the leaves are still all around. I haven't done anything. This is my compost. I need to drill some holes in the bottom and paint some flowers on it, but we'll get there. And we still have this one that says onions. It has nothing in it but those herbs and tomatoes from the greenhouse. Some of them will be going in there. And look at the lemon tree. made its way back from nothing after being frozen over the winter. I'm very excited about that. There's another tomato. Now, this one doesn't get a lot of sun. It gets some afternoon sun. So it's going to be behind all the rest. But when everybody else is all done because it's too hot, this one might still be plugging along. We shall see. Another lemon tree. Over here we have the fairy circle. Autumn worked really hard on this fairy circle over the weekend. And you see she has her little mushrooms that we built. And then we turned one into a bird bath. And we have mint down there. And her precious stones. And we put these bulbs in. They came up but didn't do anything. They can either live or die. We'll figure it out. And then there's more mint. And then this is where the fairies live. This is her fairy house. And all of her little seeds are coming up. She just dumped them in there all over the place. But it's her fairy house and her seeds. I did throw a couple of strawberries in there just to see what happens. And then this is the top deck of the fairy garden. So that's where all the fairies live, in the fairy garden. This is a little chocolate tomato in one of those grow bags. It too has a flower. It too gets a lot of shade, so it'll be behind the rest. I stuck this tomato in with the garlics. The garlics will be ready around June. In the meantime, the plant seems to be doing well. It's got some very nice flowers on it. Again, more shade than sun. And then we come to Autumn's apple tree, which she and I planted as a seed. We pulled out of an apple. And we have been told that it can't get apples unless it's fertilized by another apple tree. But I swear, where are you? That's an apple. We shall see. Everyone tells me it can't be, but I frequently do as many as 15 impossible things before breakfast. So let's just get an overview of the big garden and see that it goes all the way around the back. And it is quite beautiful, I think. I'm prejudiced. These are scarlet runner beans that are climbing up my archway. And in front of it is a little eggplant. And it's the same on this side. They sort of guard the entrance and climb up. On the other side, we have cucumbers climbing. These are bush cucumbers, like the ones in the front. And they have nasturtiums down there with them because they make sweeter cucumbers. And the same on this side, a little cucumber guarding the gateway with nasturtiums. Then you come over here. Remember I said I was going to put sunflowers in here. So I have tall sunflowers. I have dwarf sunflowers. And I have a couple of 4 o'clocks stuck in there. But this is going to grow up and be part of the entrance of the garden. And I guess we'll go down this direction. The sun's coming up. Here is my Brussels sprout. And those little sprouts are growing. And the purple potted beans have all come up around it. Doing quite well. In the big garden, we have big tomatoes. These are the Brandywine slicers. We have pink and red. And we have rows of basil down between them. Basil also helps to sweeten things. And on this one, we scoot around to the back. I wish I knew how to edit. That's going to come soon. We actually have, right over here, a tomato. My first tomato in the garden from this pink Brandywine, or red Brandywine on the end. I think it's pink. It's washed away. In front of it, we have some banana peppers and some eggplant. And then those Johnny Jump Ups hanging in there, taking over everything. I think I'm going to dig some of them up and put them out in Evelyn's garden. This tomato has a big, what you call a fasciated blossom. That's several blossoms that fuse together. And that's going to make one of those real funky looking tomatoes that gnarly in the bottom, but it should get really huge. So we're just in, some people take them off. I don't. And then we have another red Brandywine slicer, and it's got lots of leaves. And another row of basil and a pink Brandywine, and I think that's another fasciated blossom over there. And what's called a black strawberry tomato. I don't know what it's going to be, but look at the black on the leaves and how it's textured. I think that was really cool. And then below we have all of these dragon tongue beans. Now last year we had wonderful harvests of dragon tongue beans. We really enjoyed them a lot. So I planted them as close together as I could to get a really good harvest. So we have string beans, just plain green string beans. In the cornfield, we have scarlet runner beans growing up the trellis. We have purple potted beans in the gray pot, and we have dragon tongue beans here. We eat a lot of green beans at our house. This pot is the one that had the strip that I just stuck in there. It was carrots, onions, radishes, and beets. I have pulled out several beautiful radishes. I've really not had much luck with radishes, but this year I did. And it's very crowded in there, but I think that's a radish. And these are radishes. And that is definitely a beet hiding down there, but I don't know if it'll come up. And then there's some carrots. I did not get any onions. This is my zucchini pot that didn't have a zucchini. I put the seed in. You can see he's popped up there in the center, and white radishes all around in order to ward off pests. And we have the cucumbers, dun 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 dun, all the way up to the top already. They're beautiful. They're covered with all kinds of flowers. We have nasturtiums coming up around them. We have echinacea planted around the back. We have more nasturtiums. And then we have the cucumbers on the front trellis. Not quite as tall, doing quite well. Very excited. Let's see if we can't get a good view of this part of the garden. Then we're going to scan over to this giant gray zucchini. This thing is humongous. This is one of the smaller leaves, but you can see it's just enormous. And down inside, you can see we have flowers starting. We also have white radishes all around it to help ward off pests. And we have some zinnias and nasturtiums coming up on the side of the fence to give us some beauty there.
I'm going.
Oh! Okay, bye. We have the blueberry bushes over here. We have it wrapped against bird infestations because we have tons and tons of blueberries in there, and we don't want to give them away to somebody else. Some dated pansies, painted daisies. I'll get it out. and another echinacea. And then this is all different kinds of parsleys. I'm going to put some more herbs in that too. It's my little fertility pot. And for those of you who know why I planted it, blessed be. And some basil back there. Some parsley here. And usually I just have stray zinnias that come up in here, so I'm giving it some time before I do much of anything else. Also have some hanging pots that need to go up. The hangers are empty. Gonna see what happens. In the little garden over here, we have more tomatoes. This is another one of the black strawberry tomatoes. This is a little purple tomato. This is another Roma and another purple, and basil in front with a bunch of radishes. And I'm going to try to get a nice panoramic of the garden from this view. And we'll start with the zucchini and go around. Try to capture both beds on up. I don't know how the light is working. On around to the side of the house, and you can get all of this to there. It's very difficult, I believe, to portray the beauty of the garden that I see. It's especially if someone looking at this isn't a gardener. It's like I cannot convey the beauty to someone else. It's just not feasible. It's not possible. But I want you to know that this garden brings me such joy. This garden, I'm enamored of it. It woos me. I want to be out here just looking at it, touching it, being part of it all day, every day. It's just my happy place. And I'm hoping that by sharing it, someone else has a happy day too. So I'm going to end it there and say, blessed be, happy day to everybody.